This is a demo of a V-Ray pipeline tool that I have written for macOS 10 that works inside of BBEdit and TextWrangler. Here I've got a V-Ray scene file, and I can now use distributed rendering, which allows me to tie in multiple render nodes into the preview window. So I just have the document open here. It's a V-Ray scene file. I go V-Ray Standalone with distributed rendering. It will send that off. I have another computer in another room that's a 4-socket AMD Opteron with 64 cores. The scene's instantly sent over to the system and it starts rendering. The scene here is a scene with a backplate of a room, and a billiard ball is composited and rendered in the foreground. And here you can see there are 64 tiles loading in at a time with distributed rendering. If you had a larger amount of render nodes available, you could tie those in. So you could maybe have 5 or more computers all putting their tiles into the one context of the rendering look dev artist. And so this is a full scene, 1920 by 800 with GI and motion blur rendered pretty quickly. And at the same time, for the tools here, let's say I want to edit the scene file to change something. I could select this line here, which is called the settings output element. I could go up here and I could get the node parameters, and it'll do a lookup in V-Ray and let me know what every attribute is and what the defaults are. So if I want to change something, I could know what I'm doing. And if I want to know if something was not working as I expected, let's say I had a custom lens shader, I can go up here and I can list all the installed nodes and plugins that work with V-Ray on this system. So it gives me a listing of every module, and it would also indicate if there are errors in it loading any of the plugins. So that's kind of handy. And yeah. And if I wanted to check a V-Ray command line option, I can select V-Ray help, and it's the same as running V-Ray-help at the command line, and it gives you all the variables back. So you could search, let's say I want to look for something like a host command. It would give me the render host command, or any other command I wanted I could just look at up. If I wanted to edit the V-Ray distributed rendering host, I can click here. This is just, in this case, an Applescript, but the same thing could be done on Windows with Notepad++. I have a list of each of the hosts and the port numbers, so each one of these entries could be a different render node in a render farm, and they'd all be tied instantly into the artist's interactive session. And you can do the same thing in Maya or 3ds Max with V-Ray DR distributed rendering. It's kind of cool.